Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Let's hang out. Let's hang out. And let's talk about what Leslie's about. Let's hang out. And let's listen to two lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Lez Hang Out. I'm Ellie Brigida.
And I'm Leigh Holmes Foster, and here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This Week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. As always, we want to let you know you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/LesPatreon. We are releasing bonus episodes once a month for all of you. So if you cannot get enough of Lez Hang Out and you want more, you should join us there. Our last episode was on Nimona, and our next episode is going to be on the miseducation of Cameron Post.
In the Greater Les universe, we'll start with the most depressing of points, which is that Canada recently went ahead and issued a travel advisory for LGBTQ plus people traveling to the US, all the way down here across the border in the land of nonsense. So yeah, that's cool. Everything's going super swimmingly well. We're doing great.
We're doing great.
Yeah,
Gay
really
rights
good.
for all.
So yeah, that's fun. Always fun. Sorry, Canada. I
think the solution is for all of us to just go to Toronto and hang out
yes.
with all the queer web series stars.
Let's do it.
That's it. In other more silly news, Riverdale finally ended after 7 seasons. And the ending has really shocked, titillated, and excited the queer community. Confused.
Yeah.
Because they ended with a queer poly quad between all of the 4 main characters. Betty and Veronica are making out. Archie and Jughead getting together. There's this whole picture of them all holding hands at the movie theater. And you know what? I don't know why people are surprised.
No.
This is the Riverdale ending I expected. After 7 seasons of like complete queer chaos. This is the only reasonable explanation to end Riverdale.
I apologize to Ellie because I just told this story, but I feel like our listeners need to know as well, is that I saw a lot of people posting about this on Twitter, and the other top response that I saw, other than just people going like, what the fuck, were people saying, also, why does Betty look like she is straight out of like the 1950s? Like, why is everybody suddenly old-timey? And I saw a number of people who just responded, oh, they traveled back in time when the comet hit. I have barely made it through an episode and a half of Riverdale, so as far as I know, listeners, don't quote me on this, as far as I know, that is actually the real answer. I'm very confused by this show.
You could say anything about Riverdale and I'd be like, yep, that happened.
Yeah, so
tracks,
yeah,
comet,
right? Like,
time traveling, quad, polyquad, like it all tracks.
Nothing
is
seems beyond the pale.
No.
But I do respect their commitment to just being like, we don't want any of your ship wars. They're all
together.
That's
fine.
Together.
Yeah. Great.
Love it. Also, we realized we had done a huge disservice because over our hiatus over the summer, many of us, including me, discovered the absolute joy that is Deadlock. And so if you haven't, we just want to make sure that everybody heard about it. If you haven't watched Deadlock yet, it is available on Amazon Prime, I think. It's an Australian spoof crime, like buddy cop, like homicide investigation. And it is so gay and so funny. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please do yourself a favor. Look up Deadlock. I'm obsessed. I loved it. So that's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Leigh.
Thanks, Ellie and Leigh, and welcome to our 110th installment of Should Have Been Gay.
Oh, it was fun, it was great, but it should have been a little more gay.
And in this week's episode, grab your keys and your special rocks. It's about to get spooky in here.
Let's get spooky.
Let's get spooky as we continue with our attempt to focus on some new topics, some new things, new types of things. And this, I think, is this our first official book should have been gay?
I think it probably is. And as a reminder, for those of you who are just joining us, we are currently in the midst of the SAG and WGA strike. So in that vein, we are not covering any movies or TV shows that are under the umbrella of the SAG strike. So today we will be doing a book instead. We did a song last time. So we're trying to be creative here. If you have any other suggestions for us, please let us know.
Hit us up. Today, we're going to be talking about the book Coraline by Neil Gaiman. So I know if you're looking at it and you're like, but that's a movie. We're not talking about the movie. We might talk a little bit about the movie, but we're focusing on the book by Neil Gaiman. And so my only problem with us trying to do this, Ellie, is I really miss my IMDb synopses, but I found a back cover book synopsis of Coraline. So that's what I'm going to read for us. And it is as follows. When Coraline steps through a door to find another house, strangely similar to her own, only better, things seem marvelous. But there's another mother there, and another father, and they want her to stay and be their little girl. They want to change her and never let her go. Coraline will have to fight with all her wits and courage if she is to save herself and return to her ordinary life.
Good synopsis.
It's not bad,
See,
right? I mean, I will say, like, book
cover
covers
is much better than the IMDb synopsis. Somebody edited that
things with
shit.
editors.
Yes. That was
Already.
proofread. That had many stages in between.
Had subjects,
Yes.
Nouns, verbs, lots of stuff going on. Correct sentences. Wow, 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 wow. Book covers. Well
Good
done.
job, book cover. I will say that Leigh has read the book. I have not. So
Ellie has seen the movie, though. So based on your rough idea of this story, do you want to give me a gay synopsis?
yes, I can give a quick gay synopsis. The back book cover also has inspired me. So
Okay.
Coraline enters this new gayer world and is enthralled by her lesbian neighbors, her upstairs bear ringleader, and her new non-binary best friend, until she realizes, as all baby gays do, maybe this gay world is just as messed up as the straight world.
It's not better at all.
It's not better at all. And she's like, you know what? I can go back, but I'm going to bring a little bit of this queerness that I found back to my ordinary life and merge the two into a world that has far more of a spectrum of sexuality. And
Great,
that's our happy
great,
ending.
great.
There's a spectrum.
Is there a happy ending? Okay. Here's what I would say my gay synopsis of Coraline, the book is. I think we have Coraline. She is a young, adventurous, independent young gal. She's got one mother, sure, but she's got another mother too. She gets locked in the closet, She's got
lots of metaphors
a cat.
here.
She's got gay neighbors. I just think there's a lot of queerness in this story, and I wanted to dig into it. That's all.
For sure. I mean, I think you could also talk about, and correct me if I'm wrong about the book, but like the whole thing is, right, Coraline's parents are like, oh, they're so boring, and like they don't pay attention to her, and like I feel like they're like, oh, this little gay child, like just be normal, and she's like, I'm sort of weird and quirky, love me.
Yeah. Coraline to me as a character feels she's queer coded in the same way that your Harriet the Spy characters
yes.
are
Have
always
we
like
still
a little
not done
queer
Harriet the
coded.
Spy?
I think we
Oh
haven't.
my god,
yeah.
I love that movie.
So I feel like there's a similar vibe to me of, I'm a little eccentric. I'm out here on my own, doing my own thing. I'm going to go exploring. I'm going to go talk to my neighbors. I'm going to go play outside and scheming, especially like the scheming too. as you get a little further on into the story. Like, I think there's a lot about Coraline that resonates with a certain experience and depiction of youth.
Queer youth.
Especially as, like, a young girl.
Yes.
That feels very precursor to gay awakening in a few years.
Very pre-gay,
you know?
yes. So, Leigh, why don't you give me a little bit of a rundown of what happens in the book?
It's a very similar story. Overall, the plot-wise is very, very close. I would say, actually, I think the main difference to me is that they did add that character of the boy in her building in the movie, which again feels like a little straightwashing.
Okay, so you think the book is even more gay because they literally were like, we're not even going to have any sort of other, like, I mean, I wouldn't consider
no other
Wybie
kids.
her
There's, like,
love interest, quote unquote, but like they could try to be like, oh, this boy is stalking her and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I mean, I just think anytime you take a story and you're like, you know what this needs is like another kind of lead character of the opposite gender.
Yes.
It's like, does it though? Does it really? Does any story really need that?
No. Okay, so Wybie doesn't exist, but the cat is there.
The cat is there. And so the main story is Coraline they move into this new apartment. She's exploring. She's just, going outside and going around the building. You meet the neighbors. You meet Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, who we will for sure be talking more about. You meet the guy with the mice who can't say her name. And her parents are kind of working a lot and busy, and she's just trying to entertain herself. And she finds this little door and doesn't have the key immediately, but eventually kind of comes across the key, goes through the door into the realm of the beldam, the other mother, and is like, oh, this is fun and new, but like, why are your eyes all fucked up? And like, what's going on, right? And then meets the cat. The cat can talk in the other world and starts realizing like, hey, actually, it's a little sketch and sus over here. Comes up with this plan to leave because the beldam has now trapped her in there and has to hunt down all of the souls of the other children and find her parents who have gone missing. And does all of that, goes back through the door. I do think it's a little different than the movie and how they end the book, because she goes back through the door, but the other mother's hand follows her and is like trying to get the key back to reopen the door, and so she ends up like trapping it in a well or something.
That's what she does in the movie too.
Oh, does she? I haven't seen the movie in a long time.
She traps the hand in the well, but then after it's like, oh, my parents pay attention to me now, and like we're all in the garden, and like everyone's happy ever after, and like Wybie's grandmother now can go to the house because there's no bad memories there anymore, and blah blah blah.
Yeah. So it's I think general plot wise, the book, I mean, again, it's not a long book, right? Like, it's kind of a shorter, it's a quick, easy, fun read if anyone's looking for one. I do recommend it. And I think the thing is, maybe one of the reasons for me that reading it feels so gay is it's really hard to get through a story that uses the phrase other mother
so many times. And you're like,
so many times.
Mother.
Yeah, and so it's like right off the bat, right? You have this like, here's my mother and here's my other mother. And
so
I also
you
think
ship
that
the mother and the other mother together? Is that what you're saying?
Do we ship someone with the other mother? I think the other mother ships herself with the mother. Let's put it that way. I have this theory, right? Because when we talked about Summerland last season and we were like, is this the most like far-fetched way for gays to start a family that you could come up with? Is like, we fell in love, but then you broke up with me because you wanted children, and then you got married, and then you shipped me your son, and now your husband died in the war, and we could be together, right? Is there anything more far-fetched than that? And I think the answer might be, like, I am a fairy creature from Nightmare Land who wants to go and abscond with your children and call myself their other mother, and maybe we can just raise them together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, even though I know that's not super her plan.
Yeah, that's never really the active plan, but if we're going to make it gay. She does not give a shit about her. Like, I feel like the other mother's other father character is like,
right, is nothing.
like literally just a figment of her imagination, right? Like, is a monster that she created. Like, she's not in love with him. So, like, she could be in love with the mother on the other side.
When you talk about bearding, I'm pretty sure for me, the ultimate bearding would be, here is a skin suit that
Here's
I
a
have
skin suit man, and he will do my bidding.
Man,
yeah,
right, who exists only to be an extension of my will in the rooms that I happen to not currently physically be in, so that I can have eyes and ears on my kidnapped child at all times.
Beard.
Like, that feels a little gay, right? Like, he's not really a thing. He's not a person. He's not there. And literally, when she kind of, realizes that Coraline is losing interest in him and that he's not being very convincing, she's like, well, I'm just going to chuck you down in the basement and turn you into like a literal grub monster. Like, that's...
Oh, yeah.
kind of how
culture.
the Beldam treats men. And it just,
honestly,
it feels...
this is giving me like the Babadook is queer culture.
Yes,
like,
yes,
You're
that's
literally
exactly
yes,
what it
the
is.
other mother is queer. Like, that's it.
Why do we as gay people do this to ourselves?
We're like,
why are we always
weird
like,
horror creature? That's us.
Horror nightmare monster.
That's
that
me.
I see myself. Yes, queen. Like, what is wrong
to be
with
fair,
us?
she is very queen. Like, when she becomes her like monster self at the end, like, she is like, she's drag queen city. Like, she could be
what is wrong
a Halloween
with us?
costume. I'm like,
it's
yes, mother. Yes, mother, I'll stay with you. Can sew my eyes, mother. Step on me, other mother.
I can't do it. But honestly though, what is it with us and like why do we constantly want to associate with like under the bed scary monsters? Like, why?
It's the camp.
Because she's terrifying.
It's the camp of it all.
She is campy.
It's the camp of it all.
She is campy. There is something even in the pictures. Like, Coraline, the book is full of illustrations, and they're creepy, but they also feel very campy. Like, there's just something about the other mother with her little button eyes and her long, spindly, scary fingers, and she's just like, oh, my child, Coraline, and you're like, you're terrifying, and I kind of love you, and I don't want you to exist, but like, hey.
I also feel like there's like another layer of it. Okay, like if we dive into like the psyche of Coraline, right? Coraline is a neglected child, right? Coraline does not feel loved by her parents, right? Like, that's just baseline, right? She's not paid attention to. She's not loved by them. Like, in the end, they sort of try to be like, oh, she realized they really did love her. And you're like, I don't know. I don't know about that. But like, this is like a gay story of like neglected child meets, let's say that this other mother is not actually like a mother, but like an older figure, like a Carol of sorts, right?
Okay,
an older lesbian,
sure.
right? And you don't quite get it, but you're like, this person is giving me these things that like I've never had before. And then you're like, I think I'm in love with them, right? Because it's like all the things that your parents never gave you. Like, this is psychology 101 when people seek out a partner to like give them all the things that they never got in their childhood, right? And this is a definitive like, this person gives you this, and she's like, I'll give you everything your mother never gave you.
I'm
and
cooking
then you're
you
like,
breakfast, and I want to play with you always.
And then later on, you're like, wait, this person is toxic as fuck. I gotta get out of here. Like, this is the beginning and the end of a queer relation, like that first gay relationship where you're like,
the bad one.
The bad one.
The bad one.
The bad one. Yes. The bad one where you're like, wow, this is the first time I've ever gotten anything like this. And then you're like, oh, but she's been manipulating me this entire time and she wants to sew buttons in my eyes. Gotta run. Like, That's it.
Don't you hate when your first girlfriend's
like,
sew
stay with me and let me sew
over
buttons
your
in your eye.
eyes and trap you in a nightmare fairyland? It's just the worst. She's like, let's U-Haul. And you're like, why are you not a human? And why do you have why are your fingers getting longer and longer? What's happening?
What's happening? Why do you want to eat my soul? Like, it's just, it just happens.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
Mm-mm. But yeah, I could totally see that as like a toxic first uncomfortable age gap relationship.
Well, and here's what the other mother needs to figure out, right? Because she's like, oh, I captured your parents and I trapped them in this little snow globe so that they're out of the picture and now nobody loves you and you have to want me to take care of you. And I'm like, this is not how you make a family, other mother. Maybe you should just try like talking to her mom, see if you guys can work something out. Like, maybe you make everybody a dinner,
Maybe you share custody. Like,
yeah, you send dad and skin suit dad to like the man cave in the basement and you guys all hang out, just some girl time.
At night, Coraline gets to come spend time with you. During the day, she's with the dads. Like, we'll sort it out. She's got dads, she's got moms, right? This is a modern family.
I've got a father, another father, a mother, and another
two
mother.
Dads, two moms. It's like that's it. Like,
this is the future liberals want.
Is Coraline.
It's Coraline.
Is toxic family relationships.
It's a literal nightmare.
Yeah,
so that on its own feels a little gay to me. The other mother, queer vibes. The other thing is, I think that it's interesting that the other mother's punishment, right, when she gets upset with Coraline and she's like, you need to think about things. What she does is she throws her in a closet. It is a closet that you cannot escape from once you're put in there. So someone else puts you in there and then you can't get out. And
I see where you're going with this.
Okay. And no, because it only keeps getting better. And the way that this closet looks from the outside as you walk up to it, the door of it is a mirror.
Oof.
Okay. So yeah, right. Let's just like take a hot second and deconstruct that whole imagery, but let's do a literary analysis of these themes, okay? So you have an inescapable closet that someone else puts you into, and
all you can see
and the outside of it is a mirror reflecting back as you look at it, right? So, okay. So that's where she puts Coraline, right? She locks her in a closet.
With the other
already.
Children that she's previously locked in a closet.
Yeah, with all the ghosts, the ghost kid, the ghost children. So that's what happens when you displease the other mother. And now, again, listen, all I know is typically when people are hurt, they lash out in the way that they themselves were hurt. So I just think it's interesting that the other mother's form of punishing everyone around her when she thinks they need to be punished is to put them in a closet. Where did you learn that, other mother? What part of your past?
You think because she had been in the closet previously, she's like, all right, now you get in the closet. Hurt people.
I'm just saying.
Hurt people. Closeted,
hurt people.
Closeted
hurt
people. Closet others. Like, that's what we're saying here.
That's what we're saying. Well, and especially because there's this one quote that the other mother says at one point, right? Because it's when Coraline makes the deal with the beldam and she asks how she knows that she can trust her, right? So they make this deal where she's like, if I find my parents and I find the other souls, like, you have to let me go. And she's trying to ask how she knows if she can trust her. And here's what the other mother says. She says, I swear on my own mother's grave. Does she have a grave? Asked Coraline. Oh, yes, said the other mother. I put her in there myself. And when I found her trying to crawl out, I put her back. Which, creepy vibes, super creepy and camp, other mother, love it. But also, clearly some parental trauma there, right?
Some serious mommy issues. So that's what I'm saying. When you
deep mommy issues.
When you have some deep mommy, right? The toxic relationship tracks, right? mommy issues turn into mommy issues, like turn into relationships that are toxic. Like you are trying to like be the mother that you never had. You're trying to get the relationship from this, like the things from
Maybe
that person you never got from your
the other mother
like,
just needs to do a little bit more reparenting work.
Yeah, girl needs to get herself together.
Does the other mother's mommy issues stem from being tossed in a magical nightmare closet?
Could be.
I'm just throwing that out there.
I
right?
feel like the other mother's out of the closet in this thing, though.
I mean, I think she is now, but I'm just saying when you have a character where that's their thing, is they're like, I'm a creepy, campy, spooky woman who wants to call myself the other mother to a child and throw them in the closet, you know, while I'm off like monstering up my beard husband. It's
gay
just,
vibes.
It's a little gay. That's all I'm
It's
gonna
a little
say.
gay, other mother.
It's a little gay.
Little gay.
So there's all of that to start with, right? All of these things about the other mother. The other thing that I do want to talk about a little bit with the other mother, real fast before we move on. So the other mother, I think her name, right? She has this other name where she's called the Beldam. And the Beldam, I think, is supposed to be inspired by a John Keats poem it's like an old John Keats poem that's called La Belle Dame sans merci, right? So he writes this poem, and it's a poem where it's sort of told from two different perspectives, and it is first like the narrator, and the narrator's sort of talking to like a knight, and he's like, whoa, what's up with you, knight? Like, why are you so pale and like lying by yourself by this lake, like looking not so hot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it sort of switches into the perspective of the knight, who's like, oh yeah, I saw this beautiful woman in the fields, and like, you know, she had this long, beautiful hair and these wild eyes. And then, you know, I followed her and made her like a crown to wear on her head. And I put her on my horse, and we like went off, and she was feeding me stuff, and it was great. But then she took me to like her fairy grove. And then I like fell asleep and had all these weird fucked up dreams of like all these dead people who were like, oh no, the you know, Belle Dame, which is like the beautiful woman like has you in her thrall, and then I woke up here. I don't know. So this is my very literary analysis of a classic John Keats poem. You're welcome, everyone. Okay, so clearly you can see where the inspiration comes from, right? But I just feel like, again, so you have a character in this poem. Her name is La Belle Dame, and Sans Merci is like, you could sort of translate it as like the beautiful woman with no, like, mercy isn't the right word actually, even though it sounds sort of like it, but like you could get away with that, right? And so I just think that there's an interesting thing about this character who is inspired by a elfin fairy creature who seems to get her kicks off of like luring men to their death, right?
So you're saying like she's luring men to her death. She's trying to like be a mother figure to people, like just everything about her. Everything she's ever done. Gay.
Right. Like,
it's the previous iterations of the Beldam. Gay. Right?
She sort of sounds inspired by like a gay forest nymph.
Yes.
Right?
That hates men.
Yeah.
Man-hating lesbian Beldam.
The Beldam.
Yes.
The other mother, if you will.
Yes.
Right?
I see it.
Like, maybe pity. Maybe, like, pity's a better word. I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, what's a good translation. But, I mean, it's basically it. It is, like, here is again, she's not nightmarishly described in the poem, but you kind of get the impression that it's like, hey, man, she gets her claws in you. Like, you're not getting away. Like, you're not getting out, you know? What she wants to do is, like, devour men's souls for kicks.
Sounds right. Don't we all?
Which just doesn't feel super hetero to me.
Not super, no. Not very straight.
So, I feel like, the whole mythology of the other mother just...
Gay.
A little gay. It's a little fairy creature of men's nightmares, kind of.
Sounds right.
A dyke. She's a dyke.
She's a straight up dyke.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And as we head into Thanksgiving time, I want to start by thanking my wife, Kelsey, who has not only listened to just about every episode of this podcast for 8 seasons now, but who also is the only reason I'm able to make time to record it every week. She takes the kids, gets them dinner, and gets them ready for bed, just so that Ellie and I can come on and yell about gay things into each other's faces for an hour. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people you're grateful for in your life, including yourself. I've been in therapy for a long time now, and one thing that's so important about therapy is how it teaches you to be more intentional. And being intentional about gratitude and how to show that to the people you appreciate is just one of the many benefits that I've gotten from therapy over the years. If you've been thinking of starting therapy, consider giving BetterHelp a try. I know how hard it can be to find time for regular therapy, and BetterHelp is designed to be flexible and convenient for your schedule. You can fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to start being more intentional about gratitude in your life, visit betterhelp.com/Lez Hang Out today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/Lez Hang Out.
Let's hang out.
For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Baking Hershey's Kisses Peanut Butter Blossoms is the perfect way to celebrate the holiday season with friends and family. With their classic, rich, creamy milk chocolate taste, there's no better way to heartwarm the holidays than by baking with Kisses chocolates. Find Hershey's Kisses holiday chocolates at your favorite retailer.
Do you want to talk about Miss Spink and Miss Forcible?
Oh, God. Yes. Yes.
I mean, are they pretty similar in the book to the movie?
I haven't seen the movie in so long. I honestly don't know. But when I was reading this story, like, okay, listen, you have these two elderly women living
together with all of their animals,
with
their
dogs.
million dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just that they're like kooky old ladies living together, which already gay vibes.
Yes.
Right? This is Boston marriage at its finest. They're
Yes.
like, oh, we've had this apartment since 1907. You're like, okay, ladies.
Yeah, they've been together for like 80 years.
Yeah, they've been together forever.
Yeah.
And they're both like theater like actresses,
The
right? They're both
part of it is so funny.
They both spend all of their time together reminiscing about their days on the stage and all of the shows that they did and when I was in this performance and I mean it just
Yes. And also I don't know which one's which, to be honest, like Spink and Miss Forcible, but one of them has gigantic tits. Like huge. But the other one is also obsessed with them. So it's like this one has really large boobs and then the other one keeps talking about her big boobs. And I'm like, you don't keep talking about them unless you're like, yeah, that's my girl. Look at that rack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's obsessed with them.
That might get played up more in the movie than in the
they're
book.
gigantic in the movie. Like gigantic.
I just picture these two little old theater ladies with their Scotty dogs talking about all their stage stuff. They feel so queer coded to me. Like this is classic, like, oh, my great aunt so and so lives with her roommate, right? Like it's
yes. Roommates, quote unquote. And they were roommates. No. And even in like the
roommates.
other, right, in the other realm, right, the version of them is like still just the two of them, of course. And they're performing together. And like their whole thing is like they did like an act together too. So these are women who have been performing together and living together. Like if there's nothing more gay than like working together, living together, like doing literally everything together. Like they are the definition of U-Haul.
Buying dogs together.
Getting dogs together and then also fighting incessantly.
Oh yeah, they bicker like an old married couple.
Because they are an old married couple.
Yeah. And okay, other things to me that read as gay about Miss Spink and Miss Forcible.
Their names.
Yeah. There's that. They spend a lot of their time trying to warn Coraline away from the little door and stuff, but they do it in the book. I don't remember how they do this in the movie. In the book, they do it by reading her tea leaves.
Yep.
Right? And so I'm like, these two bitches are like just around the corner from her doing her fucking chart and like reading her tarot cards. Like they're like, oh, Coraline, what's your rising? Like what time were you born, Coraline?
No, they are old astrology gays.
Yes.
They
are.
They even bicker about the tea leaves. They're like, oh no, I know how to read the tea leaves. No, I know how to read the tea leaves. They're like this. They're like this. Yes. It's also so funny too if like you look at the other mother as this like, you know, this older gay that they're like, baby gay, be careful.
Be careful.
You will fall into her gay trap, but do not fall for it. We've been there. Yeah. Like
they're like, we've done toxic coming out relationships. We know what it looks like. Listen, I'm gonna charge up a crystal. I'm gonna get it to you.
Exactly.
Be all set.
Literally, they are like, here's a crystal. This will save you. Like the gay crystals will save your fucking life.
They are so close to having a fucking seance with Coraline right now.
They own their own magic shop. Like they're like going to freaking festivals and like setting up their little like
Miss Spink and Miss Forcible going to Burning Man. You know, it's just...
they are such like hippie lesbians, like to the max.
Old retired theater performance hippie dykes. I kind of love them.
I love them too.
I don't know. I just love like these are Coraline's neighbors, right? She has Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, and then she has the guy
the amazing
who lives upstairs.
Yeah, he's the amazing
Mr. Bobo.
Something. Yeah, Mr.
Right?
Bobo.
I think he's Mr. Bobo, and Yeah, but I think that she calls him Mr. Bobo or something. And he is, again, kind of a weird, eclectic dude who lives alone training mice. Like,
oh, yes, he's Mr. Bobinski. Yes, he also is a gay man living with animals, like you said, right? They got dogs
there are
downstairs.
So many...
They got mice upstairs. Like, this is a freaking, like, veterinary shop for the queers. And yes, he lives alone. He has a handlebar freaking mustache. He definitely works out. Like, he's like, I gotta look good for the gays. Like, he's like doing pull-ups to be like, all right, I gotta go to the club tonight. Gotta make sure I look good for all of these people. Like, he's a gay man, straight up.
He's a gay man. Yeah, it's a little much. So I just think it's funny that Coraline's parents moved her into this super fucking gay apartment house full of gays with a secret passageway to another gay world full of a gay nightmare fairy creature.
This place is called the Pink Palace also, right?
Is it? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't think it has a name.
Does it have a name in the book?
That's wild.
I think it's called the Pink Palace, which is
That's
just like
very Janelle Monáe of them.
Right? Such a gay name.
That's
wild.
If
that is not a gay name. Like, they're like, oh, and her parents are just like unsuspecting, like, oh yeah, go play with the neighbors. Like, yeah, not like, and not even thinking about it. And it's like, okay, this like little baby gay is learning everything she knows from all the gay neighbors, plus a talking cat.
Plus a talking cat. I know. That's like her only friend is a cat.
Lesbian.
So we have the dog gays, Coraline clearly coming
cat
up as a cat gay.
The mice gay upstairs.
Yeah.
We've got all kinds of gays all around this apartment. Everywhere you look, a different kind of gay. What else?
Yeah.
I feel like there's something super gay about like Mr. Bobinski too, being like in the quote unquote ordinary world. I feel like he's like a failed circus guy. Have you seen do you watch Modern Family?
I do not super.
There's this episode where Cam has an ex-boyfriend and it's Kelsey Grammer, and he is a like ringmaster.
Oh, I can see that.
Ringmaster Keith.
I can see that.
And I feel like the title of ringmaster is also a very flamboyant, right? It's like theater performers and a ringmaster. Like the ringmaster of a circus, when you think of a circus, circuses are the outcasts, right? The queer people, the like people who are on the outskirts of society. And like the gayest, most flamboyant one of all is the ringmaster. Is the master of ceremonies, Mr. Bobinski.
Mr. Bobinski. We've got theater gays. We've got circus gays. Like, we've got
them all.
It's a lot of representation.
So much.
Okay. Here's what I want to do. I want to do, you know how much I love to just fake our way through real deep analyses of stories. So,
what do you mean fake?
I'm a little, because we're going to be a little bit winging this, but I want to go with it anyways.
Go with it.
So here's what I want to talk about. So you have Coraline, who shows up, and she's like, oh, there's this passageway, but it's all bricked up. I can't see what's on the other side of it, right? Until she spends a little more time hanging out with some of her elderly gay neighbors. And then magically the passageway opens. And she goes through this passageway, and she's like, wow, it looks just like the world, but it's like a little different, right? Like suddenly the world is just a little bit different. It's got another mother in it, you know? Like, I don't know what that means yet, but I'm figuring it out. Like, what are the possibilities that another mother opens up in my life? And as soon as she does that, she gets abandoned, right? Like, her parents suddenly are gone, and she's crying herself to sleep all alone because her parents are gone. Now that she has discovered this
new,
just slightly different world out there, right? So it's like, I've made this discovery, but it cost me my family. At what cost? Was it worth it? Like, is there a way that I can win them back?
Wow.
I don't know. Okay. And so we have that, right, as a starting point.
Sounds familiar.
And I want to talk about Mr. Bobo gives her the rock, right? Gives her a little rock, and the rock becomes the way in like that she can find all of these missing souls, right?
Yes.
When you look through the rock, you can see these souls glowing. And so I just like, listen, I know it is always very obvious and evident when there is phallic imagery somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's left and right. But that, right? Phallic imagery is like, do you have something taller than it is wide? Okay, if that's
Okay,
phallic.
yes.
Anytime you have something with a hole in it,
Interesting.
Right?
Where are you going with this, Leigh?
I'm going with the other type of imagery that you may have where it's like, wow, isn't it cool how there's this magical, mystical, world-saving object in this story that is just like a glorified small pebble version of like a big painting of a flower or something.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
Like,
So
it's
little
a very
flower
a
imagery.
little
Mhm.
George O'Keeffe for us, right?
Very
Where she's
George
like,
O'Keeffe
wow,
here.
when I look through this
Everything
magical,
is different.
mystical hole,
Yeah. I can see
I
world.
can see your souls.
That sound. Yeah, I mean, she's having a lot of gay awakenings, Coraline. Let's be real.
That's okay. That's all I'm saying, right?
No,
is-
some good, some bad. You know, every gay experience she's having is turning her into the gay she's gonna be. You know, like
Coming
she's
out is a
working through
turbulent
it.
time.
It's not, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. You know,
There's a whole lot going on in
sometimes
her
you gotta
life.
save the exes.
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I realized how crazy this woman is, but I can't leave the exes behind. All right, let me help them out too.
Come
Here we
on,
go.
bitches. We're all
Come on.
getting out
Yeah,
of here.
we're all getting out of here
Yeah.
together.
And I will find you with my special vagina rock. That's
Mhm.
all. That's all I'm saying.
That's
okay?
it. It makes
I
sense.
just think
I mean, to be fair, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna swim through this thing to whatever. That's sort of what I was saying at the beginning of the two worlds, not the vagina rock. That was all you. Okay, just so listeners, so you know, that was all Leigh. But the two worlds
I
are
didn't
one.
invent literary analysis,
Yes.
Ellie. I'm just following the rules, okay?
Yes, exactly.
If it's taller than wide, it's a penis. If it's a hole, it's a vagina. That's all it is, okay?
Also, in the movie, it is triangular shaped. I don't know if it's triangular.
Fascinating. It is definitely round in the book.
Yeah, it's a triangle, so it's even more
Yeah,
like you're talking about.
that's very blatant.
Yeah.
Man, no wonder they had to add Wybie. They really gayed it up, huh?
They really did. But I totally get what you're saying about just the worlds that are different, right? It's a slightly different world, and it changes her perspective. It changes her worldview. And then she comes out of that being a little more gay, but also, like you said, then figuring out how can I reconcile with my parents? Like,
yeah, I cut off the toxic ex. You know,
Mhm.
I escaped.
But I think she's still forever changed by the gayness. Like, just because she's like,
sure.
oh, I don't want to go into this gay underbelly. I feel like there's plenty of other there's plenty of other gay experiences in the ordinary world. She just went like hardcore. Like, this is her like hitting every single gay bar the first year she comes out, and she's like, whoa, too much gay. And then she's like, okay, now I figured it out.
She's
You
like,
know?
maybe I don't need to hook up in the bathrooms every time. Yeah.
Not every time. You know what I mean?
Not every time. Not with everyone. Not with everyone who buys you a drink. You know, you gotta be a little more choosy, Coraline. That's all.
I mean, honestly, if you want to with everyone who buys you a drink, that's also fine. But yes, there's, she's in the dark gay underbelly, and she's like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
And then it's like, she's learned some shit. She comes back a little different.
Then the beldam sends the hand after her, and she's like, no, I'm over. I'm deleting your number. Like, you gotta get in the well. Put the hand in the well.
The song Stay Away by Muna. All right, well, the lyrics are, it goes, no one ever told me leaving was the easy part. I gotta stay away. Right? So she's like, oh, she, like, it's also like, okay, I left, but no, my ex is still trying to get her claws in me. I gotta stay away.
Sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Lots of gay subtext in this book.
Yes.
Incredible amount.
This is what I was telling you. I felt like there were some things we could dig into. That's all.
I'm curious. So remind me who the author is?
The author's Neil Gaiman.
Gaiman?
Yes.
Gaiman. Gay
Yes.
man. Okay.
His name is Neil Gaiman. Yeah.
Great.
Famous renowned author Neil Gaiman. Do you not know who Neil Gaiman is?
I know now.
You're like, yeah, he's the author of Coraline,
Yeah,
obviously.
he wrote Coraline. I'm just curious, what is Neil Gaiman's sexuality?
As far as I know, Neil Gaiman is straight, but I think he's also very much an ally.
Interesting. I mean, also, I was talking to someone about a Sheryl Crow song, which also I was like, should have been gay, but was like, you know, thinking it was a gay song, but Sheryl Crow was like, it's not gay, whatever. But we were just talking about how, like, the cool thing about all this stuff is that, like, the people who write it don't have to be gay for us to be like, you sort of wrote a gay story, right? Like, we can take whatever meaning we want from it. Like, it's sort of also, like, adds to the fact that I feel like the gay experience is a universal experience in a way, even if you're not gay. Even though straight people don't quite grasp that, but it's like, everyone can understand this story about Coraline, but like when you put it in a gay lens, you're like, damn, that hits.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And I think, yeah, like it's like same with like a Tim Burton film, or like, I don't know, there's like things about like this kind of genre that genre of like the horror-esque children's literature that I feel like also like lends itself to queerness, like the Nightmare Before Christmas of it all.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Again, because we as queer people seemingly cannot stop projecting ourselves onto horror creatures.
Yeah, onto terrifying creatures of the night.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
You're correct. Is there anything else you want to talk about this book?
I think we've covered most of my points. I think we hit my big ones.
Are we shipping anyone in this book?
I don't know. I
mean,
feel
for
like,
me, it's Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, though.
Yeah, I think Miss Spink and Miss Forcible is our best bet, because I like how we sort of did this whole thing where we are wildly oscillating between the other mother being gay with the mother and the other mother being Coraline's toxic first relationship, and I'm just not even going to just try to make that a distinction. It just is what it is.
It just is what it is.
I think we're shipping nobody. Let's ship Miss Spink and Miss Forcible.
Perfect. Sporkable. Fink. Spinkable.
Forcible. Spinkable.
Honestly, both of those names are so good.
They're all pretty good, yeah. I think they're the only ones I can ship. I
can't
in
do good conscience,
else.
that's the only two we can actually ship. Yes. And I will say, I was saying Coraline and the other mother in a metaphorical way. If she actually was her mother, that we're not even going to touch that shit.
No, this is why I said we're not going to try it. We're not going to try, Ellie. Just stop trying. No,
Yes.
walk it back. We're not talking about it. We're not going to figure it out. We're just going to point out all the gay in it. That's all.
Sounds good. All right, Leigh. So what do you think? Coraline?
Should have been gay.
Should have been gay. Are you ready for our Q and gay?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Q and gay.
All right. Question number 1. Who's gayer? A, Coraline. B, the other mother. C, Miss Spink / Miss Forcible.
Listen, it is a real tough tie for me between the other mother and Miss Spink and Miss Forcible. I feel like I'm gonna say I think Miss Spink and Miss Forcible are healthier gays. I think the other mother has a whole lot of repressed gay that she needs to deal with.
Gay swirl.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Ellie, this is a silly question for me to ask you, considering you just learned who Neil Gaiman is.
Yep, so sorry.
What's your favorite Neil Gaiman book out of Coraline, Stardust, Good Omens, or the Discworld series?
I'm going to have to say A, Coraline, because it's the only one that I know.
Although, I will say, Coraline was made into a movie, Stardust was made into a movie, Good Omens was made into a TV show. I think Discworld, they keep teasing the idea that it's going to be a series or something someday. I don't know.
Well, I got to check it out, since clearly I don't read so bad. I used to read so much. Leigh, were you like one of those, there's like, I love when you see like those old memes that are like, you can tell you didn't read like 12 books for a pizza over the summer. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're not that kind of a kid or whatever. Were you that kind of kid who read the books for the pizzas?
Oh, yeah. I just read the books for fun. I didn't even need a pizza.
No, I used to really love reading. I think I just like honestly can't handle it. Like my brain can't handle sitting still for that long. You know what? Maybe I need to read.
I read a lot. I read a lot. I had a rough couple years after Eloise was born. I spent like 3 years where I was like, I don't think I've read a book. Like, it's a problem. I need to start reading again. It was really hard to find time, when you have small children. And that was the one thing where I was just like, I can't find a way to fit this into my life again. But yeah, no, I've gotten back into it. And I mean, not a ton. I don't have as much time to read as I used to pre-children, but yeah, I can recommend some books for you, Ellie. I'll get
Send
you some.
them my way. I used to. Well, it's like I feel like I used to really like to read over the summer. Like I would read at the beach, or I'd read at the pool, or whatever. And then it's like probably go to the beach once or twice a year. So it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna just like chill and go in the water and whatever. But maybe I'll. You
could also do. Kelsey's been super into audiobooks. Like she really likes audiobooks.
I could be down for that.
Yeah, because same thing. I mean, it's just we don't have a lot of time. But she's like, but I can listen to stuff while I go on a run, do dishes. Like
I do have a lot of car time. All right, Leigh. Question number 3: what was your favorite hiding place as a kid? A, the closet. B, behind a curtain. C, basement. Or D, under the bed.
Oh, I feel like I was always like an under the bed. Like, well, I guess it depends on what kind of hiding you were doing. If it was like hide and seek type. I was still small person. So I always liked to, you could kind of like slither into the tight little spaces.
I would freak out if I was under the bed.
Well, I mean, I don't want to live under there, I don't want to stay.
Not a fan.
I did used to like having like small spaces though, where you could be like, here's my little nook. I liked a nook. I always liked a nook, Okay, question 4, Ellie. Do you think the other mother's hand is really trapped? Yes or no?
No, she's coming back.
Yeah, dude. That's not a good enough. You gotta like blast that thing into outer space or something, right?
Girl's coming back.
Yeah, you gotta get it into orbit.
Mm-hmm. All right, question number 5. What's the gayest pet? A, cat, B, dog, or C, trained mice?
They're all gay. All of the above.
All of the above. Agreed.
The answer is all of the above. Yeah.
Yes. Remember, listeners, you can answer our Q&A questions on our Twitter at Lez Hang Out Pod.
Let me hear you say, hip, 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 we're gay.
We love hearing from you and building community, so we want to shout out some of our favorite things each episode. I'd like to personally shout out Kaylee, who reached out to me personally on Instagram, but this message is for you as well, Leigh, who said she's a huge fan of Lez Hang Out, wanted to thank us for all the hard work we do on the podcast, and she's also thinking of starting a podcast of her own. So
love it.
Can't wait to see it, Kaylee.
We love to see it, Kaylee. Also, we got a lovely message from one of our favorite patrons, Liz Shen, who sent us a clip of a trailer to a extremely short-lived 80s show called Partners in Crime, starring Linda Carter and Lonnie Anderson. And it looks delightfully like it should have been gay. And also we just, hey, Liz, thanks for emerging from Babyland to say hi. Always
hi,
good to hear from you.
This thing's gay.
This thing's gay. It's the best reason to really, poke your head out. So great.
Love it. We'd also like to shout out Florell, who reached out to us via email. And please send us more emails if you're out there. We love reading them. Who said, I've been listening to your podcast from Montreal, and you guys are like a breath of fresh air. Oh, stop, Florell.
Ellie's like, stop.
What'd you say?
Going. Stop.
I find you
don't.
inspiring yet grounded, and most importantly, every time I finish an episode, I have a reflection with myself. We do not have enough lesbian content here, no lesbian bars, just a very eclectic and free queer community, which is great. But there's a little something, something missing. So we're glad we can be that little something, something for you in your little queer community.
Love it. Always, we want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Tanya Ferguson,
Alana Rosen,
Lizette Stye,
Adi Benitez,
Fiona W.,
Sophia Phillips,
and our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen,
Leah Henley,
Andrea Doucette,
and Julia Gonzalez. Thank you all so much to you and to all of our patrons. We could not keep doing this show without all of your support.
Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Lez Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at lezhangoutpod@gmail.com.
Or you can check out our website at lezhangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use to listen to podcasts, make sure that you subscribe. That way you'll get new episodes as soon as they go up every week.
We're also posting videos on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/lezhangoutpod to catch them.
Lez Hang Out is an independently produced show. It's hosted by us. Our audio production is done by Ellie. Our production assistant is Krista Murison. And Twitter, shenanigans, and various other social medias are done by me.
If you want to support the podcast, the easiest way to do that is rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast. We love hearing what you have to say.
If you want to support us, you can join our Patreon. You get ad-free episodes, access to our Discord chat, Les Central's viewing parties, all sorts of good stuff. You can find it at bit.ly/LesPatreon.
If you want to get some Lez Hangout merch, you can get that at bit.ly/LesShop. We have some fun tees, totes, tanks, all about how gay and beautiful you all are. So if you want to get that, you can get it at bit.ly/LesShop.
Remember, we also have a queer production company where we are making queer podcast musicals with guaranteed happy endings. You can find us everywhere at $beanprod.
Or at our website, dollarbeanproductions.com.
You can check out all of the episodes of our first show, The Flame. They are up on any podcasting app.
And if you want to help support us in making more musicals, you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/dollarbeanpatreon.
If you want to follow us individually, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LSHFoster.
And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ellie Brigida. With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Leigh. And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast, and with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.